Hey there, ACH 100. We're here to talk about what's in Week 12 folder, the Building Inspection Permit Guide, your construction document info articles that you should have read already, and then a synopsis of what information from here needs to be in your final project. So we'll start here. This comes from the Lexington Fayette Urban County Government, and these are the types of drawings that are required when you submit for a permit on a project. You need a site plan, which includes dimensions of the lot, platted building lines, easements, dimensions of the structure, along with porches, decks, private walkways, driveways, and the distances from the structure to the property lines. You need a foundation plan showing footings, foundation, girder and pier spacing. Basement walls may require designs for reinforcement. Floor plan for entire structure, labeling all rooms or areas and indicating location of egress doors, windows, and all smoke detectors. Framing plan and a wall section indicating all framing materials, including size, spacing, and span of materials, studs, joists, rafters, trusses, etc. Footing detail to be included with the wall section. Luckily, you know how to do all of this, right? And then elevations, showing the required design features if applicable, location of the doors and windows, and height of the structure. So your final project will need to include this information. Under construction documents info, you had several links to articles from Bob Borson, who is an architect who writes a page called Life of an Architect. He has an article about the title block, the cover sheet, symbols on drawings, wall types, and line weights. So you need to have read all of those. And then for your final project, your title block, this is a synopsis of his article and what you need to put on your title block. From bottom to top, your 24 by 36 sheet title block should include the following. And I'm going to open his article and use his sheet as a reference while we're going over it, since we can zoom in here. And he works from bottom to top, and he's kind of fuzzied out the project particulars and his consultant's name so that I guess people don't bother them. But if we go back to our file, you need to have your sheet information. This includes a page number, the date of the sheet, when it was finished and became part of the set, a project number that is usually an internal office number so that you can find it later, a page title, so if someone's flipping through the set just looking at that corner, that they see a short description and know what's on that page. So let's go back over here and look at what that looks like. Here's your page number sheet, that little fuzzy where it says sheet, and then this is their number. You can start your sheets after the cover sheet does not have a number. The cover sheet and then your numbers will start at A-1, A-2, because ours is going to be a very short set. Then the date that it becomes part of the set, you put your date out there. You can create a project number and put it out there. And then the title of the sheet, tell me what is on that particular sheet. So it will say cover sheet with symbols and abbreviations, for example. All right, let's go back here. The drawing issue or reissue information. The revision date and reason for the reissue. Examples might include issued for permitting on a particular date, issues for construction, city comments. You can submit it for permitting, and then the city will come back and say, well, we need you to show us this, this, and this, and then you have to redo the set and resubmit it, and that's when you would use a reissue date. If anything changes in the set of drawings, this issue, reissue date, and the info about what exactly the reissue is about, will let all the team members know what it's about and where to look for it. In this section, you probably also want to just copy and paste this disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer: the drawings and written material herein constitute original work of the architect, and as intellectual property and instruments of service are subject to copyright and may not be reproduced, distributed, published, or used in any way without the express written consent of the architect. So on his, that's what this little area is saying right here. And then the way their verbiage says is the vertical package when this entire set was sent out into the world is this date, but this has a couple of revisions. The city had a comment, and their response number 1 was issued on this date. The city comment and response number 2 was issued on this date. The next section up, you'll need project information, and this will include what type of project, for example, residential addition, or in your case, a new single-family house, and the project address. In our case, this will be 720 Florida Street in Lexington, Kentucky. And this is the project area, project, and then all the information for that project underneath. The project team data, and this includes the client, a name, phone number, and email address, a structural engineer, an MEP engineer, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Usually these are all performed by the same engineering company. A landscape architect, a civil engineer and or surveyor, and the general contractor, and the name, phone number, and email address for each one of these people, so that any team member can look on the title block and know who is involved and how to get in touch with them immediately. And that looks like this: client, contractor, engineer, landscape architect, MEP engineers, and any other consultants that you might have. A lot of times you'll have audio specialists, or all kinds of different kinds of engineers can get involved. You need to leave space for a professional's seal, and this could be either an architect or a structural engineer stamp and signature, and that's what this is, the stamp with the signature. And then at the top is the title block, which will be your title block, which you have invented for yourself. And then the services that your company offers. This one says architecture, interiors, planning, and graphics. The address, the telephone number, a fax machine, which we won't need, just put an email address there, and a website. So you will need to create this information for your project. These are placeholders, so you can create a client. Oops. You can create a client, a contractor, a structural engineer. You can look up ones in Lexington. For example, I really like to use Brown and Kubican structural engineers. You can look up an MEP engineer and any other engineers that you have listed on your title block. We have the professional seal and the firm logo, list of services, addresses, phone number, email address. You will need all of this information on yours, so keep this handy for when you're creating your title block. And that is all for the week 12 folder. In week 13, we're going to move on to our massing model and other information for our final project.